The void was silent, except for the faint hum of dying starships. Humanity had been written off, eradicated, forgotten. A rumor whispered among alien fleets. And yet, here they were. One lone human stood at the helm of a battered cruiser, eyes scanning the endless darkness, heart hammering, knowing that the next decision could ignite or end a war across galaxies. The alien armada didn't see him as a threat. They saw extinction waiting to happen. But humans had a stubborn streak, a fire that refused to die. Every maneuver, every heartbeat carried the weight of survival, of pride, of defiance. Could one species, scattered and hunted, rise from the ashes to confront the impossible? Could one human turn the tide where gods themselves feared to tread? The answer was coming, and the universe would never forget it. It was just past the pale dawn of the twin suns, and Commander Elias Kane moved through the corridors of the Arkship Horizon with practiced calm. The ship hummed beneath his feet, a heartbeat of humanity's last hope. Every panel, every console, every flicker of light had been touched by human hands, each a testament to ingenuity born of survival. To the untrained eye, it was routine, systems checks, navigation calibrations, and maintenance routines. But Elias knew that life on the edge of a collapsing galaxy was never ordinary. He paused at the observation deck, staring out at the endless black speckled with distant stars. From here, the colonies looked like tiny dots of stubborn defiance against the dark, each world a fragile ember in the void. He thought of the children playing under artificial suns, of the scientists and engineers who kept humanity alive with ingenuity and sweat, of the countless families who clung to hope even as empires fell. It was a fragile, beautiful existence, and it was entirely human. Elias ran his fingers over the control panel, feeling the hum of energy coursing through the ship. He remembered the stories his grandmother had told him, of the Earth lost, of fleets shattered, of civilizations that believed humans were extinct. They had underestimated the species before. They had called humanity fragile, fleeting, a shadow of power. And yet, here they were, scattered, scarred, and defiant. The morning routine continued, engineers running diagnostics, medics checking on crew health, and scouts monitoring distant star systems for anything unusual. Elias smiled faintly at the efficiency, the quiet rhythm of a people who had learned to survive against all odds. Humanity was not just surviving, it was adapting, evolving, and preparing for the challenges the cosmos would inevitably bring. A soft chime echoed through the ship, pulling Elias back to the present. On the communications console, a faint signal pulsed, a thread of light across the void. It was irregular, not one of the usual colony check-ins. His eyes narrowed, trained to detect anomalies even in the smallest blips of energy. Something was out there. Something waiting. The crew gathered around, their faces a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Unknown frequency," reported Lieutenant Mara, her voice steady despite the tension threading the room. "Not from any known colony or trade fleet. Could be a distress signal, or a warning." Elias studied the readouts, the lines of data dancing across the screens. He could feel the familiar stir of anticipation, the quiet thrill of the unknown. Humanity had always thrived at the edge of uncertainty, and now, instinct whispered, the edge had found them. Yet for all the drills, the planning, the quiet confidence of his crew, Elias felt a knot of unease. Something beyond the ordinary had stirred. He remembered the warning stories from the old archives, tales of alien civilizations that had risen and fallen long before humans charted the stars. Civilizations with technology and ambition that made entire fleets look like toys. And now, perhaps, one of those civilizations had noticed humanity again. Still, in that moment, the horizon was alive with human determination. Every crew member carried within them a spark that had survived famine, war, and exile. Every panel and engine and tool bore the mark of resilience. And at the heart of it all stood Elias, a single human amidst the stars, aware that the galaxy had shifted just slightly, that the calm of routine was about to shatter. He took a deep breath, letting the hum of the ship ground him. Soon, the anomaly would demand action. Soon, human ingenuity, courage, and stubborn defiance would be tested in ways no simulator or drill could prepare them for. But for now, in the quiet before the storm, Elias allowed himself a single thought. Humanity had always survived, and whatever came next, they would face it, not as victims, but as defiers of impossible odds. And in that lingering silence, the first whispers of a challenge began to form across the stars, unseen yet inevitable. The universe was about to remind humanity that even when presumed extinct, humans could not be ignored. The horizon shuddered as the first warning beacons flickered across the bridge consoles. Alien warships, sleek and deadly, had appeared beyond the edge of the system, their energy signatures pulsing with intent. Humanity had survived countless threats, but this felt different. Every sensor screamed of precision, of calculation, of a species that saw the stars as its playground and humans as an anomaly to erase. Commander Elias Kane stood at the helm, eyes scanning the void. "Battle stations," he ordered, voice calm but firm. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, but the tension was tangible, muscle tight, nerve frayed. They were facing a force that had already crushed civilizations, yet within them burned the stubborn flame of human resilience. Lieutenant Mara adjusted the targeting arrays. "They're coordinating like a single organism. Their formations shift faster than anything we've simulated. Our fleet alone won't stand long in a head-on engagement." Elias clenched his jaw. "Then we won't fight head-on. Draw them in, divide their numbers. Use the terrain of the asteroid field to our advantage." Human ingenuity had always thrived where logic alone faltered. The asteroid belt surrounding the outer colonies became their shield, their labyrinth, a place where the precise algorithms of alien commanders struggled to keep pace. Horizon and its small escort fleet slipped between jagged rocks, dodging energy beams that would have torn any other ship apart. "Deploy decoys," Elias commanded. "Scatter them, make them chase shadows." Crew members activated holographic projectors, launching dozens of false signatures into the void. Alien sensors flared and recalibrated, wasting precious seconds. Those seconds were human advantage. In the midst of chaos, a single shuttle approached the command deck, carrying intelligence gleaned from covert probes. Elias studied the data. Alien communication patterns, energy fluctuations, weak points in formation. "We know where they'll strike next," he murmured. "We can anticipate, but we have to be faster." As the fleet weaved through the asteroid belt, a massive alien dreadnought emerged from the shadows, a leviathan of metal and energy. Its weapons glimmered with a cold, precise threat. Mara's hands danced over the controls, guiding the fleet with instinct sharpened by years of survival drills. Every evasive maneuver, every feint, every calculated risk was a testament to human cunning. "Prepare the pulse cannons," Elias said, voice low, almost to himself. "If we can breach their shields even briefly, we can strike at the command nodes, disrupt their coordination. One hit could buy us minutes, maybe hours." Minutes stretched into tense eternity. Beams cut across the void, energy screaming, asteroid fragments exploding in trails of fire. Every crew member felt the stakes in their bones, the knowledge that failure meant extinction. And yet, despite the fear, their resolve hardened. Humans had survived black holes of doubt and storms of annihilation before. This was simply another test. Amid the chaos, a smaller alien craft breached the rear flank, fast and jagged like a hunting predator. A boarding pod detached, hurtling toward the horizon. Security teams scrambled, blasters raised, hearts pounding. Elias gritted his teeth. They think they can breach us? Let's remind them that humanity fights on every front. The boarding pod struck the hull with a shriek of tearing metal. Security teams poured into action using tactics honed over centuries of survival. Every pulse of the blaster, every countermeasure, every calculated trap revealed a truth the alien invaders hadn't anticipated. Humans thrived on unpredictability. When the pod's entry point opened, the team didn't panic. They moved like shadow and flame, turning the confined corridor into a crucible where only the cunning survived. Back in the bridge, the main battle continued. Horizon twisted between debris, drawing enemy ships into ambushes set with almost surgical precision. Pulse cannons flared, striking alien shields and causing cascading failures. Systems designed for brute strength faltered under human ingenuity. The aliens had expected a linear confrontation, but humans had rewritten the rules mid-battle. Elias allowed himself a fraction of a smile. They underestimate the human factor, he muttered. Always have. Yet the danger was relentless. A fleet of smaller alien interceptors began flanking from unexpected vectors, exploiting gaps that even the humans' careful planning hadn't predicted. Explosions rocked the outer hull. The bridge shuddered violently. Mara shouted over alarms, "We can't hold them all! They're overwhelming our escort!" Elias's mind raced, analyzing the data, predicting patterns, drawing on instinct and experience. Divide and isolate. Lead the smaller ships into the comet field. Use the tail of the debris for cover. We'll take out their wings first. The fleet obeyed, weaving through ice and rock with nerve-shredding precision. Alien craft collided with debris, their formations fractured. The humans pressed their advantage, exploiting gaps, striking swiftly, vanishing into the shadows. Every move was calculated, yet instinctual, a blend of fear and courage that the alien commanders couldn't comprehend. In the midst of battle, a signal crackled over the comms, an automated warning from a nearby colony world. Aliens were advancing there next, faster than any human scout had predicted. The stakes spiked. The battle wasn't just survival for the fleet, it was survival for countless innocents. Elias's jaw tightened. Prepare the jump. We're heading for the system edge. We'll intercept before they reach the colony. Humans don't abandon their own. Engines roared. Stars streaked past as the fleet executed a high-risk, high-speed maneuver through gravitational anomalies. Alien ships faltered, unable to match human adaptability. The crew held their breath, the tension stretching taut, ready to snap at any second. One miscalculation, one delay, and the lives of thousands could vanish in a heartbeat. As the fleet emerged, they caught the aliens in a makeshift trap, a choke point where human planning met improvisation. Pulse cannons erupted, shields buckled, alien vessels faltered, their precise coordination collapsing under relentless human ingenuity. Even as explosions tore through the void, Elias could sense the tide beginning to shift. Yet the cost was clear. Debris littered the void, allied ships limping, some destroyed, and human lives lost. The horizon itself bore scratches, dents, and scorched plating, a reminder that even genius and courage came with sacrifice. Through the chaos, Elias stood at the helm, eyes scanning the aftermath. The aliens retreated, regrouping beyond sensor range, their silence heavy with uncertainty. Humans had survived, but the war was far from over. And then, from the dark expanse, a larger shadow emerged. A vessel unlike any seen before, massive, imposing, humming with power that dwarfed the fleet. Elias's heart sank, but his resolve hardened. This was the enemy that could not be ignored, the true test that would determine the fate of humanity and the colonies they fought to protect. He clenched his fists. They thought we were finished. They thought we were extinct. Let's show them what humans are really capable of. As alarms blared and the alien Leviathan advanced, The screen faded to black on the horizon's bridge. A single human commander, standing at the edge of annihilation, ready to challenge the impossible. The universe was watching, and humanity was ready to remind it why it should never be underestimated. The Leviathan loomed before them, its silhouette blotting out the stars. It wasn't just a ship, it was a moving fortress, a construct of power designed to break civilizations in a single strike. The bridge of the horizon fell silent as its energy cores lit up, glowing with a deadly brilliance. Commander Elias Kane's breath slowed. He could feel every eye on him, every heartbeat synced with his own. The crew knew what was coming, an attack that no human fleet should be able to withstand. And yet, they also knew Elias. He had led them through chaos, through impossible odds, and here, at the edge of annihilation, his voice carried the steadiness of iron. "Hold steady," he said quietly. "We only get one chance." The Leviathan's weapons charged, the void trembling as if the universe itself recoiled. Mara's fingers flew across her console. Energy spike. Massive. They'll fire in seconds. Elias studied the data, every calculation, every possibility flashing in his mind. He knew they couldn't outgun the enemy, couldn't overpower it, but humans had never survived by brute strength alone. They survived by daring to think differently. "Helm," Elias said, his voice cutting through the rising panic. "Angle 32 degrees. Bring us right into the charge arc." Gasps filled the bridge. "Commander, that's suicide." "Exactly," Elias murmured, eyes locked on the Leviathan. "That's why they won't expect it." The horizon surged forward, engines screaming as the dreadnought's massive cannon unleashed its fury. A lance of energy tore through the void, brighter than a sun, aimed to erase them from existence. But at the last instant, the horizon rolled, the beam grazing past its hull, searing plating but leaving the heart of the ship intact. Sparks showered across the bridge. The crew staggered, but the ship endured. "Shields holding barely," Mara cried. "Now," Elias whispered. "Return fire." Pulse cannons erupted, but they weren't aimed at the Leviathan's heart. They struck debris in the surrounding field, fragments of shattered ships and ancient wreckage. Explosions cascaded outward, sending a storm of molten metal and rock hurtling at the Leviathan. For the first time, its perfect shield matrix faltered, overloaded by chaos it hadn't been designed to anticipate. Elias seized the moment. "Target their command nodes! All batteries! Fire!" The horizon's cannons thundered. Bolts of energy lanced into the Leviathan's weakened flank. For a heartbeat, the massive ship seemed invincible, shrugging off the blows. And then, one strike pierced deep, igniting a chain of internal detonations. The alien flagship reeled, its movements sluggish, its once flawless coordination breaking down. Across the fleet, alien vessels wavered, their unity fractured. For the first time, the predators knew doubt, but victory was far from assured. Warning klaxons wailed as counterfire rained down. The horizon shook violently, bulkheads groaning, alarms screaming. "Hull breaches on decks 5 and 7, Mara shouted. "We can't take another direct hit." Elias's mind raced. The Leviathan was wounded but not defeated. If it recovered, it would annihilate them. One final strike was needed, something reckless, impossible, undeniably human. His gaze drifted to the data flickering on his console, the Leviathan's energy cores pulsing like twin hearts, vulnerable only at point-blank range. He knew what had to be done. He exhaled slowly. "Plot a collision course." The bridge went silent. Mara turned, disbelief etched in her face. "Commander, that's—" "I know what it is," Elias said, his voice calm, resolute. "We won't ram them blind. We'll ride the debris storm, breach their shield pocket, and deliver the strike straight into their core. If we fail, humanity falls with us. If we succeed—" He let the words hang, the unspoken truth heavier than any order. The crew didn't argue. Humans didn't follow because of rank. They followed because of trust. And in this moment, every soul on the horizon trusted Elias Kane. Engines roared, the ship surging into the maelstrom of debris. Alien fire lanced toward them, each blast narrowly avoided by instinct and precision. The horizon danced where no sane vessel should tread, weaving through chaos with the stubborn defiance of humanity itself. Closer, closer. The Leviathan's shield rippled, fraying under the relentless assault of debris. The gap widened, just enough. "Now!" Elias shouted. The horizon plunged through the breach, cannons unleashing their fury. Bolts of energy slammed into the Leviathan's core, the ship tearing itself apart from within. Light consumed the void as the alien dreadnought shuddered, its massive frame splitting, collapsing in on itself in a chain of apocalyptic detonations. For a moment, the stars burned brighter. The universe held its breath. The bridge erupted in cheers, exhaustion and triumph mingling in equal measure. Humanity had struck the impossible blow. Against all odds, they had faced the monster and lived. But as the glow faded, Elias's eyes fixed on the tactical display. Beyond the wreckage, beyond the smoke and ruin, more signals stirred in the dark. Not one Leviathan, not two, dozens, an entire fleet awakening from the void. The crew's cheers died into stunned silence. Mara's voice trembled. "Commander, there are more." Elias straightened, shoulders heavy but unbroken. His eyes never left the horizon of stars. Then this was just the beginning. The void hummed with the awakening of giants, but at its heart, one human ship burned like a beacon, and the question the galaxy had ignored for so long now echoed louder than ever. If one human fleet could do this, what would humanity do next? The battle was over. The stars themselves seemed quieter now, as if the galaxy held its breath, unwilling to disturb the fragile silence that followed humanity's impossible stand. Wreckage drifted across the void, alien metal and shattered engines, fragments of ships that once bore the arrogance of empires. Now they floated like bones in a graveyard, silent testimony to what happens when you mistake humanity for prey. Inside the battered human flagship, the crew sat in stunned silence. No cheers erupted, no cries of victory, only the sound of shallow, exhausted breaths and the slow realization that against all odds, they were still alive. Leora's hands trembled as she lowered them from the controls. Her mind replayed the final moments, the alien flagship charging its doomsday cannon, the surge of impossible energy ready to erase everything. She remembered the fear, and then the choice, the human choice, to act not with perfect certainty, but with hope, to risk everything on the slimmest chance that courage could tip the scales. And it had. The alien flagship was gone. Humanity was not.